believed it when he said I was nobody. I believed it when he said I wouldn't make it. I believed it when he said that all I thought I would ever become was just a fantasy in my imagination. I believed it. I continued to walk around covering myself with a mask, trying to hide behind a facade, thinking that I was something that I was not. What I was thinking that I was I was thinking that I was a lie. I thought that I wasn't pretty. I thought that I wasn't good enough. I thought that I would never make it. But my question to you is not just about what I thought about myself, but my question to you is, what have you thought about yourself? This event was titled Unmasking Your Potential in Christ. And for so long as I was outside of the realms of Christ, I had no idea of who I really was. Prior to this night, I would have never done an event like this. I would have never hosted one. And even in planning this event, I had to ask myself a lot of deep questions. My questions was who am I doing this for? Am I doing this for the people, or am I doing this for the one that I serve? The one who revealed to me that I had been hiding behind a mask, the one who told me that I was more than enough, the one who told me that I was a princess, the one who told me that he had a plan for my life, a plan that was good and not evil to bring me to an expected end. Who was I doing this for? Was I doing this for the applause of the people? Was I doing this for fame and fortune? Or was I doing this out of true obedience to walk in the purpose, the calling, the plan that God had for my life? And I had to ask myself, who am I doing this for? And then I realized that I'm doing this for the I am that I am. The one who told me that I am beautiful. The one who told me that you are powerful beyond measure. The one who told me that your words have the ability to pierce and touch the hearts of people and let them see who they are within themselves when they think of themselves as less than. Who am I doing this for? I'm doing this for the I am. I am an overcomer. I am victorious. I am lives inside of me. And he keeps reminding me, even in the midst of obstacles, even in the midst of when I don't know the plan, he says, you have to realize that I am lives within you. And I am says that you are more than enough. You no longer have to be hidden behind a facade. You no longer have to shy down and act like the shy 2-year-old like you were when you was little. You can walk in the authority and in the power that I have given you because I live inside of you. And it's until you realize, Dewana, that I live inside of you, you cannot walk in the fullness of who I've called you to be. So today, as I stand before you, I wanted to stand at the door and hand everybody a mask, and then everything under the sun happened. My other actor she's sitting in the hospital right now, kept texting me this morning and crying and saying, Dewana, I'm trying to be there. And God said, who is you doing this for? I got the people in position who were supposed to be here. My singer could not be here as well. The musicians that was coming along with them had to back out at the last minute. I had many calls, and God said, but who are you doing this for? Are you doing this for you? Are you doing this for I am that lives inside of you, who has told you to do this? And so I said, Lord, I'm doing it for you. He says, well, then I need you to do a few things. I want you to come masked, but I want you in front of the people to begin to start taking it off, because who you have been in the past is no longer who you will be in the future. So as I stand before you, I take it off. Because the me was in control. The mask keeps me in control. It keeps me from really revealing who God has called me to be. And I can keep shining back. And God said, I need you to take it off. Amen. So as I take it off before you, I'm taking it off because we need, you need to walk in the fullness of who God has called us to be. The part of this play that I really wanted to leave and resonate home with you is, this part of this play is my life, really. It's a tapestry. We're all in this huge tapestry that God has created, and sometimes we don't realize the effect that we have on people. When I started to write the play, I thought about all of the situations and circumstances that I get to hear on a daily basis, and I asked Lord if I could share one, and I think I will. I talked with her about it, and I'm gonna share a tidbit of this story. I came into the industry doing hair because it was something that I was passionate about. I had no earthly idea that God would use it in such a way that I would affect the lives of people. And so one day a lady came into my salon, just as all of them do. She kind of reminds me of Cheryl. Real loud mouth. Well, I can hear her now calling my name. She says, "Dewana!" every time she calls. Sometimes I call her friend dresser because that's how she talks to me. But I've learned to love her. Why, you may ask? Not because she paid for her service. Because she invited me into her life. And it was not about hair, because if it had been about hair, I probably would have never met her. So here's the story. I'm doing hair in the salon one day, and a lady walks in and she asks me, could I do her hair? And I'm like, sure, not a problem. And I start doing her hair, and I noticed that she's not like everybody else that I've done before. It's not that she's dressed differently. It's not that she came up in a different car. She came up driving herself, but there was just something about this young lady. So as I'm doing her hair, I realized that she's antsy. She can't wait. She got to have me to get in and get her out. So she sits in a chair, and as she sits there, she can't sit still for fidgeting, and I don't know what's wrong, but to be honest, I was ready for her to go, just like she was ready to go. Because I need to go ahead and get paid and move on to the next service, and God said, I need you to slow down. I need you to slow down. Don't let this be about money. Don't let this be about what you can do to her hair and how much you can slay it. I need you to realize that this is a human that I got before you that needs your help. I don't know what you want me to do with her. So some time passed, she left, and she came back. Dewana! She stands and says, please do my hair, Dewana. And I promise you, I'm probably standing just like she stands sometimes. And I said, girl, sit down. Dewana, I ain't got all that stuff under that dryer now, because you know how I am. I can't take it. It get hot up under there. And it wasn't the hot that my customers normally complain about. It was a different hot. So God had to peel back another layer of the onion for you to be able to see really what was going on. So I put her up under the dryer, and she, within maybe 10 minutes, cut up so bad that I had to take her from up under there, and I had to go on to the next phase. She leaves, she comes back. This time, the next time she comes, she says, I like you, Dewana. I like you too. And then she begins to share some stuff with me. I never thought that that young lady who was sitting in my chair, one, her first issue was, I call her young, and she's in, and I still consider her young, but she's in her 50s. But when she come in, she never acts like me. She acts like she's my child, and I had a struggle with that because I'm too young to have a 50-year-old. I'm too young. But she kept coming, and she needed me to be a mother figure to her. So I did. I grabbed her by her hand, and I kept doing her hair every time she came. And then one day she came, and she said, can I talk to you? Actually, no, let me change that. She didn't come and say, can I talk to you? She called me on the phone and she said, can I talk to you? And I said, yeah. She said, can you go off by yourself and talk to me? And I said, yeah. She said, you by yourself now? I said, yeah. I could cry as I'm telling the story because it has been so real and so true to my heart. She says, I'm in a dark room right now. She said, I have my blinds closed. I have my curtains pulled, and the light is off. And she said, I just need you to talk me through something right now. And I said, what you need me to talk you through? Girl, I got something to do. Because she just antsy. I had to get on with my life. You know how we do. We got to go to the grocery store. We got to go pay our bills. You know, I got to go cook because my children is hungry tonight. What is going on? And she says to me, you want to please listen to me? And I said, I'm listening. Go ahead. She said, I need you to talk me out of not putting a pipe in my mouth. sitting on the table, and I'm trying hard to not take a hit. And I said, what? Because see, I've had some struggles with some food, but I've never tasted a drug in my life, and it doesn't make me better than anybody else. It just makes that part of my story. I never have. I was too scared of what it might do to me, so I never tried it. And she said, I need you to talk me out of it. And I didn't know how to help, but I just started saying, can I pray with you? And she said, yes. And so I prayed. I didn't know what to pray, but I prayed. And she said, okay, DeWanda, I think I can make it through the night. So she comes back. And I tell her, I said, thank you. Thank you for trusting me with this situation. And she said, you know, I've been clean now since the night you talked to me. Short period of time. She said a week. And I was praising her for the week. And then I remember when it became 2 weeks. Because she called me, she said, DeWanda, it's 2 weeks. Then she called me again and she said, DeWanda, it's been almost a month. Then she called me and she said, DeWanda, I need to get my hair done, DeWanda. I said, come on in, baby. She came in and I got ready to do her hair and she sat in the chair. And I remember as she sat in the chair that it was different. She still wasn't the one that was on the phone telling me that I had been clean a week. She was different. She was back to the ants. She sat there and she fidgeted with everything. And she looked out the window and everything was making her paranoid. And I remember looking at her and I said, could you do it again? She said, DeWanda, just do my hair so I can go. She kept going on and on. And she was like, this dryer is hot. I told you I can't take this dryer. Turn it off. And I'm going, it's no hotter than it used to be. You have changed. It's not my dryer. It's changed. So she never told me whether she did or she didn't, but I knew from the conversation that we had, there had to be more to it than meets the eye. There was more going on. And so I remember telling her, I said, Tanya, you really can be clean and you really can be free. And she was like, DeWanda, I don't understand what you're talking about. It don't make sense. All of this stuff that you're saying to me is just like, I got in my head, but that was addiction talk. And I remember looking into her eyes and I told her, I said, today I don't want to talk to addiction. I need to talk to my client. Addiction, you have to shut up. You have no rule within her. I need to talk to my client. But every word that came out of her mouth was the addiction. I gotta go. I said, well, call your ride. They'll come. I don't call them. But I want to walk home. And I said, no, it's not a good idea for you to walk home. And I didn't really understand the magnitude, but she left. And she walked home. She called a ride and told her that she was still at the salon with me so that she could have time to stop and do what she did necessary. Some time passed. The Lord would lay on my heart in the middle of the night to call her and just check on her. She still was struggling. She said, hey, DeWanda, how you doing, girl? And I say, how you doing? I'm doing fine, girl. I'll holler at you later. And I knew, once again, I'm talking to addiction because she doesn't want to talk to me. Not like she used to. And so I kept going. I kept staying in my profession, doing what I was supposed to do, and time progressed. And I hadn't seen her in a long time, but every now and again, it would just dawn on me to call her, and I would stop everything that I was doing, and I would call and check on her. Sometimes it was good, sometimes it was bad. But the whole time all of this is going on, God is dealing with me. He's dealing with me. He says, see, you saw it. I put you in this industry because you just love doing it. He says, but I want you to know what I love. He said, I love people. I just use your salon as a vehicle for people to get to you. so that I can talk to them, because I know what they're going through. So, okay. Some more time progressed, and I hadn't seen her, hadn't heard from her, and then all of a sudden, a call out of the blue, and she says, I'm on my way to South Carolina. I need you to pray for me. Okay, I'm praying. She says, I got to get out of Fayetteville because it's just bad. Everywhere I turn, I find it, and it finds me. So I said, okay. So she took about 6 months, and she stayed in South Carolina. South Carolina. And she came back. This time she came back a little bit more level-headed, and I was able to once again talk to my client. And then she said, can I tell you how real this thing is? And I said, sure. I didn't know anybody else that had been addicted to a drug like that. She began to share with me stories of women who have been addicted and the magnitude of the things that they would do to answer the call of the addiction. I don't know if I'll ever say the things that she said, because in my mind I could not formulate how a woman could ever, or how another human being could defile somebody so bad to make them do the things that they do to get what they want. I said, you can't tell me a real story. She said, yeah, this is for real. And so she told me by this time she had really gotten back with her sponsor, and she was fighting hard to get off of drugs. Several of my clients have came in right with her and never knew who she was. I never told her story, I never shared it, but I knew the realness of what this young lady was facing. If I could leave anything with you today, I ask you to go back home and I ask you to look at your mask. And I want, and not the one that we went in the store and purchased. I'm talking about the mask that we wear every day. Maybe a little bit of eyeshadow, and maybe a little bit of eyeliner, and maybe some false lashes. It may be the head of weave. It may be your outfit. It may be the cologne. It may be the nice pocketbook. But I want you to look at the mask and ask yourself this question. Who did God really create you to be? Why are you here on this earth? Why did you go through the situations and circumstances that you went through and made it when others did? How did you arrive here? And why? Why did you make it when somebody else didn't? See, those questions are pertinent for us to stop and pause for a moment and ask ourselves and really search deep, because the reason that we need to pause and search deep is because really when you start to think about how you made it and why, it may be because somebody else needed you to help them out. I was never addicted. But when I look back over my life, I saw situations and circumstances that happened. And now, some of those people have gone home. They have died and gone home. And now I realize why they struggle. And because I realize now why they struggle, because they struggle with something inside. Remember? The lies, you're not good enough. You'll never be anybody. The level of success you desire just won't happen for you. It'll happen for everybody else. You're not pretty. You don't have the same hair somebody else has. You don't have the same eyes somebody else has. You don't have the same nose. You'll never be enough. But I promise you, you're more than enough for the very person who is in need of you. You're more than enough for the very person who is in need of you. way she did. I would have never thought that. I would have never thought that when God told me to open this particular location and he said you will be the intersection, you're going to be right here, the intersection of people's lives, I honestly really started thinking that it was only going to be for here. But when I got here, it truly is intersecting people's lives. So I ask you, are you one of the people who is at the intersection of somebody's life, where somebody